sharing this one and only life, ending up just another lost and lonely wife.
So this song that you're listening to right now, believe it or not, if you grew up in the disco era, it's hard to believe this song is now 50 years old. It came out in February of 1976. I remember it well. It was probably one of the most played disco songs ever. It's by our next guest. Candi Staton is a 5-time Grammy Award nominated American singer, and she is on the line. Miss Staton, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Oh, you're so welcome. It's a pleasure.
Can I just ask, when you hear that song, first of all, it's amazing to me that it's been 50 years since I can remember hearing that. When you hear it, it's funny because beyond just you singing it and turning it into the hit, lately on the internet, on social media, I have seen other people singing this song, a tribute, to you. Have you seen those, by the way?
Oh, yeah. I always compliment them. I love to see people, it's not just my song. It's everybody's song. I mean, we all go through it, and each generation experiences the lyrics of that song. But the older people are just now getting into the lyrics. They were getting into the music at first, and they were kids, and their moms would be in the kitchen cooking breakfast and dancing to that song, and they would dance along with mom. And then I got on my Instagram, I got this girl says, I'm 40 now, and I just stopped and listened to the lyrics, and she said, I was amazed at what we've been dancing to. The song is a sad lyric, but a joyful sound. They're just now getting it. They said, and it hits everybody. It hits every generation, because you'll get the babies, but you won't have your man. And so we all go through those things as women, and anybody else, men too. Men are singing it.
I wonder, as you look back on that, if I could take you back. I know it's a long time ago, as I said. You remember in coming up with that song, what was the original idea? Was it your song? Did you write it? How did you get to that song?
It was written by David Crawford. He was the producer. And I was with Warner Brothers at the time, and it was the first album. I had just left Fame, and this was our first album for Warner Brothers. I had just signed directly with Warner Brothers, and they were looking for a producer for me. And David, I'd known David, I guess 20 years, because he lived in Atlanta too, and I'd been to his studio many times. And he was asking me, wonder when we're going to ever get together and do some music together. I said, David, I'd love it. But I was always under contract to someone. So David was out in Burbank, and he was looking for an artist. And so the president of Warner Brothers called me in, and he said, do you know a guy by the name of David Crawford? I said, yes. He said, well, he's looking for an artist. Would you be interested in working with him? I said, I'd love to. I would love to. Where is he? I'd love to see him. And so we got together, had dinner, and so he started writing, and he signed up for the record, and I would go to lunch with him, and we were trying to get all the music together. We were sitting there, and I was in an abusive relationship with a really crazy guy. He was out there. And I don't know how I got with him, and he kind of, just pushed himself on me. Because let me just say this. A lot of times when you get a big name and you get an artist, you got guys coming onto you, and they come on really nice at first, and then you find out that they don't belong in this cycle of your life. They don't belong. But you're so lonely. Everybody thinks that you all that in a bag of chips, but you don't think that about yourself. You just need company. You need somebody, a companionship, somebody that's loving and kind and good and can encourage you to keep doing what you're doing. But it turns around, and they start to abuse you, and they start to control you. So this is where I was at the time Young Hearts Run Free was penned by David. And I would be telling him my story because I was trying to get out of this relationship. And David was writing. He was just writing stuff down at the table where we were eating. And he would just say, yeah, I understand that. Yeah. But he would continue to write. And he wrote Young Hearts Run Free for this album. And it was my story in 3 minutes. And I came out to do it. I was on tour, and I came back. I'd done maybe 4 or 5 songs for the album, and I came back to finish it. And I walked in the studio, and I heard the music, and I'm like, David, what's that? That is the most beautiful music I've ever heard. He said, you're going to love it. You're really going to love it. And, you know, he fasted for 40 days, like Ashford and Simpson used to fast a lot for their songs. You know, get everybody out of their minds, and they go focusing on what they're trying to do, and they have songs that they wanted to do. And that's where I first learned about the fasting part. But David fasted 40 days, and he told me he was writing a song that would never go away. And I said, to myself, I said, well, what kind of song is that going to be? Didn't know it was going to be mine. And we got in the studio, and he had written the first verse and told me to go to lunch. I went to lunch. He said, I'll have the second verse when you come back. And he wrote the second verse while I was at lunch. And he said, are you ready? I'm ready. Let's do a take. I said, okay. So they put the track on. We walked into the vocal booth, and he sung it down one time for me. And it was like I felt it. I knew it was me. I knew it was my song. I knew it was my story. And he said, you think you can do it? I said, yeah, I can do it. So we walked back up into the control room and punched the button. And the music came on, and I sung that song all the way down as though I'd known that song for years. And I finished it. I said, he said, you can come in. I got what I want. I said, no. I said, no, I need to do it over. I was just practicing. He said, you weren't practicing. You put the feeling in that song that I was looking for. So come in, let's listen to it. And he said, you can do it over, but I'm not going to use it. And so I came in, and that's how Young Hearts Run Free was birthed.
What a great story. First of all, I can't believe you remember the details of that from 50 years ago as clearly as you do. That's incredible.
Yeah.
You know, as you describe this, you're telling your story. This was really going on in your life about being in an abusive relationship. When you sang it the first time, seeing the lyrics on that sheet of paper, what was the feeling like for you? I mean, some people say they've started to cry sometimes when they read lyrics like that.
Well, I didn't cry, but I felt a release. It was like therapy. I sung, I got a lot out of me, and that's what they felt. That was real. It was real. And I knew it was me. And that's what I had gone through. You'll get the babies. You won't have your man. I was a single mother and raised 5 children by myself with no child support. So that song was me all the way.
Did you have any inkling that this song would become as giant a hit as it did?
No. No way. I did not know it. I'm like, good Lord, this is amazing. But it just kept climbing the charts, And now it's gone viral on TikTok maybe twice. And it just won't go away. Well, this is what David told me. He said, I'm going to write a song that never has an ending. So anyway, I think after I'm gone, it's still going to be out there.
Did I read this right? This is your 32nd album?
Yes.
Wow.
75 years in the music business.
That's incredible. And you're only 85 years old.
86.
I want to
Just
thank
had
you
a
so
birthday.
much. Yeah, I don't want to make sure I get that right. I don't want to make you older than you are. Thank you
I'm a
so
happy
much.
86.
Good for you. Looking forward to hearing the album. Thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
You're so welcome. Anytime.
Canadian women are looking for more out of themselves, their businesses, their elected leaders, and the world around them.
And that's why we're thrilled to introduce the Honest Talk podcast.
I'm Jennifer Stewart.
And I'm Catherine Clark. And in this podcast, we interview Canada's most inspiring women.
Entrepreneurs, artists, athletes, politicians, and newsmakers, all at different stages of their journey.
So if you're looking to connect, then we hope you'll join us.
Listen to the Honest Talk podcast on iHeartRadio or wherever you listen to your podcasts.